Nose real quick. What is
Uh-oh.
up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. I am Mel, and joining me as always is Ronnie, Big Smooth Hennigan. Smooth, what's happening, man?
Not a whole lot, Mel. Just trying to get used to this hour shift, bro. What about you?
Man, look, I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend that I'm happy about it, but whatever. Summer's almost here, so I can deal with it. I get used to it. And speaking of summer and springtime, our guests for the night are none other than the long overdue return of the Cleveland Crunch. And joining us tonight, our team president and vice president Eric Davis and Luciano Rosito. Crunchman, how you doing?
Mel, Smooth, what's going on? We appreciate you guys having us on 4th and 15. Looking forward to a great show with you guys.
As always.
Absolutely, man.
All right, before we get started, I have to do this. I've been slipping on this. I told them I was going to keep doing this because we still got their product. This show has been brought to you in part by Box Bands. Strength through resistance. Resistance is key. If you're looking for a workout, just want to get into some type of shape for the summer, everybody want to get that beach body. If you're a fighter, Box Bands is where it's at. I done built up strength. I'm exhausted as all hell, but it's worth it. Okay, so you guys have brought back the Cleveland Crunch. And for those that are soccer fans, like myself and Smooth, what has that been like for you guys? Take us through the process.
Yeah, it's been a remarkable process. I mean, a lot of long days, long nights, just putting in a lot of work to get to where it is now in just the 10 months since we've embarked on the journey. But it's been unique because people have been calling it the quarantine project, right? Like that's kind of when it all started. And since then we've built a brand, we've created relationships with many team owners. From there, just developing all the pro forms that were needed to get to Thursday's announcement to make it official. So it's been crazy. I have a hard time speaking about it sometimes, just trying to wrap my mind around how fast it happened. But we have a tremendous group of talent on our team that both on the business side and on the field. I think that's going to carry through to many future successes.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like what Eric said. It's been a long, difficult process, but been able to connect with the right people along the way and really get a lot of support from the Cleveland community. Tons of positive support from guys that used to play in the team, members that were involved with the organization of the past, and just being able to acquire the branding rights and the trademark has been huge. And throughout, actually being able to get this thing off the ground again. So it seems like everything just happened to just fall into place at the right time. And like I said, step by step by step, we got to where we need to be and been able to avoid any major distractions. So hoping to keep down the right path.
We've learned a lot too. There's been a lot of learning along the way with it. Just seeing how young and the experience isn't as prevalent as a lot of the guys here that are currently in. So, and a lot of team owners. So we're using everything as a learning experience and as a challenge to keep moving forward.
Now, with that, I do have to ask as well because with bringing such, a franchise as this back, I mean, for me personally, just growing up, seeing it as a kid and everything, and seeing some great players, stuff like that. With regards to the crunch coming back, like, were either of you soccer players at all, or just had a general love for sports? And how did the crunch come calling, so to say?
Yeah, we both lifelong soccer players.
Mm-hmm.
We met in college at Lake Erie, playing
Okay.
playing in the same soccer team. And that was back in 2012. I was a year ahead of him, but just be able to build that friendship through soccer, like the strong bond, and then reconnecting. Better half of 8 years later, and talking about how we used to go to these games as kids, talking about the crunch and the force. I don't even know exactly how we got on this topic, but we were just talking about it for like just over in quarantine. We were like, what do we got to do to bring this back? And like Eric made some contact with the league and was able to talk to some people and get some information. But yeah, it started definitely with us just reminiscing about the old days and kind of discovering that there's actually a league now that was formed and had a lot of the old teams that were still in it. We got like the St. Louis and the Baltimore Blast and the Kansas City Comets. So we were like, you know what? Why can't we provide what we had as kids for young youth soccer players now? Being able to get that family-oriented experience at a good price and just the whole 9 yards with the indoor soccer game that has been gone from this area.
And it's very opportunistic too. Like just seeing the state of indoor soccer where it's at now. It changed hands at different times over the last 20 years when it came to like rebranding the league to where it is now, the Arena Soccer League, and it's continuing to grow. They just added the PASL as the fourth tier in the pyramid. So teams are starting to onboard. They're starting to see the vision of the future and where they want to take this. And, guys that have been involved with us almost daily, the M2 commissioners, Andrew Ross and Chris Economides, I want to give them a quick shout out because they've been a tremendous asset to us. And, been a huge part of our growth in the little time that we've been doing this. So it's a future. There's a very bright future ahead in Major Arena Soccer League.
Now, since you mentioned,
go ahead, Swoop.
Now, since you mentioned growth, because that goes right to one of the questions I had, so I had to jump in. So, like, since you mentioned growth, with bringing a team back, right, or even with, let's say, expansion teams and whatnot, what are some things you guys are currently doing to promote with regards to getting that word out there and letting people know that the Crunch are back in Cleveland, man? This is exciting to hear this. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is just digital, like a lot of the digital marketing. We started kind of just like a marketing aggressively, I guess you would call it guerrilla marketing per se. Just to really getting the name out there, like this team's coming back. But now it's more of a reality now. So I think that sticking with the social media platforms and all that has been key. We haven't really done much outside of that other than get a couple flyers out, feet on the street. But really, the digital metrics has been through the roof. I think over the month of February on Facebook alone, we had a reach of over 100,000. So and I can't wait to see what March has just with this announcement and stuff like that. It's just been growing exponentially over the past year. So that's really been the key for the promoting of this things.
Yeah, and I think like just the way we market like our merchandise, like for me, I got a rotation of different Cleveland Crunch gear every day. So I'm like a walking billboard. So that's definitely helped spark conversation just with random strangers on the fly. So I think it's just the word of mouth and, the guerrilla marketing. Those are two words that really have encapsulate this whole project.
Well, it was very successful because Mel, he shot me this like a while back, and I was like, Cleveland Crunch. I said, man, that must be clickbait, man. It's gotta be clickbait, right? So we were sitting there like, okay, we're going to have to look into this one, man, because just as kids alone and growing up and seeing this and, looking at guys like Hector Marinero and whatnot and just being a part of the, I guess, fan club, you could say, it's just cool to hear it, you know what I mean? But, yeah, this is cool for me.
Yeah, man, these guys are rock stars in this city. Like Otto Orr, Zoran Karic, Hector, John Wall, the Schmetzers.
I forgot all about the Schmetz. And you know what's funny? I was actually watching Game 4 last night of the '94 championship, and I forgot. Like looking at Hector in the picture that I took with him, and looking at Hector back in '94, I was like, man, I don't even look like the same guy.
The hair alone,
yeah,
hair alone, bro. Like,
but it was so crazy, like standing next to him because I didn't even know he was there. Like, and that shows you how humble and out of the way guys like Otto and Zoran and Hector were. So what was it like speaking with them and letting them know you guys were bringing the team back so they could get a glimpse of what the future and the new generation would look like?
Yeah, I mean, There were Otto and Hector and Zorn were one of the first people we connected with in this process. I think Otto would have been the first person we talked to, but just knowing that we had their support immediately. They knew that if this was going to happen, if the crunch was going to come back, that it had to be done in the right way. And I don't know if they felt obligated, but they almost, were willing to step in right away and offer any help they could. And this goes back to the humbleness of these guys that they didn't even think twice about it. They were ready to support us as needed. And I think that part of this, they might get more credit that they have been deserving of if their names are getting brought back to light like they should be, because the old crunch kind of just went away, and these guys never really got the type of recognition that they deserved per se. So that plays into the humbleness as well. And they've just been way over supportive in this whole process. And we couldn't really ask for any more from those guys, honestly.
Yeah, there's really no commemoration or tribute to their legacy. And just the way they've been involved with us has been a true reflection of kind of how they were with the community back in the 90s in its heyday. They didn't see themselves as these big popular sports and athletes in the community. They were feet on the ground. They were taking pictures with people left and right, just making them feel important, like one of them. So
signing every autograph, taking every picture, that's what we're going to replicate with the current franchise. And another thing too, going back to former players, we're meeting other guys throughout this process, like Tony Dory, for example, who was doing the interim head coaching for a minute there. He does Unitas, our merchandise and apparel. We didn't even know his name before this, and he's been the biggest help throughout this whole process. So it's just other guys coming out that we're able to meet too. Just seems like the whole experience with these former players has been nothing but great.
Yeah,
that's real good.
I do have to ask, because this was something that was burning. The burning question I wanted to ask at the press conference, but being that we knew you guys were going to be on the show, I couldn't really ask it. So what was it like pulling players back to the crunch? Was it a hard process? I mean, I knew you knew some of the guys because some of these guys are homegrown talent, but what was the process into talking them into buying into the crunch coming back?
It honestly wasn't that difficult, to be honest. We just by having the relationship with a lot of these guys from playing against them or with them growing up, and then we had the tryouts where we were able to get a group of guys talented from there. But it really hasn't been hard. We're talking about the crunch, the legacy behind it, the fact that there's this type of level of soccer available in Cleveland again. It was not difficult for any of these guys to buy in, really. I mean, they're all for it, and they've been a huge part of the success so far.
Yeah, we owe a lot of credit to our players, and I think it was a mere reflection of how they felt with us too. On the crunch is almost coming back with a chip on our shoulder too. This. The way things ended with the crunch, going back to the force, I remember that, and that still kind of. No one really understood why. So now it's just coming back and okay, we're back. We're here for a purpose. You know what I mean? So it's just going to be a season that teams are going to have us circled on their calendars. And we're excited to go in and just kind of put that same product back on the field. Almost those 20 years didn't even exist of us leaving.
Yeah. A lot of these guys went to the games like we did as kids. So it was definitely easy to get them on board.
Yeah. 100%.
To have opportunity, because I know some of us who've played different sports and whatnot, you would envision yourself in that jersey when you're fantasizing about it and whatnot, and having the opportunity to be able to do something like that is huge, right? And then on top of that, you figure, okay, with the success of, let's say, the crunch back then, and then even more recently having something local like the Crew winning the MLS Cup, it's soccer's buzzing around here right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's growing around the country too. I'm not going to discredit the rest of the United States, but us having that more recent success.
We needed it here.
Oh yeah, we did. You know what I mean? But with us having that success, locally, and then to have the crunch come back is just perfect. Great timing. Like I definitely appreciate the fact that y'all are doing this, man. This is cool.
Appreciate
And the only, I guess, one question is too, because like growing up as a kid, I lived anywhere from I think it was like 5-10 minutes away from the convocation center, which we now call Wolstein Center. And I used to go see
Always
the
be the
games there.
convocation center.
Oh yeah, for me too. With that, what location will you guys be playing at? Currently, and then will that remain that way, or will it kind of branch off as the team becomes more successful?
Yeah, so right now for the upcoming summer season, we'll be playing at the Soccer Sportsplex, which is our official
Okay.
training facility, and that's out off of Route 10 in North Olmsted, Route 10 and 480 right by the Turnpike. So come on out and catch us. We have 5 home games this upcoming summer season, but when we transition, to answer your second question, it will not remain as the same home venue. We'll be transitioning to downtown. We've looked at places like the Wolstein Center, obviously, where they used to play. Cleveland Public Auditorium is another option. So we're just waiting to work through a couple of things. And once it's confirmed, which should be anytime this early on in the summer, like June, July, is our target to release that information of where we're going to be playing at officially.
Cool. And the reason why I was asking that too is because like us growing up watching them, right? And then with me now having, a son about to be 7, it would just be cool to like say, okay, when we make our way back up there to be able to, go ahead and go to a game or something like that and to share with him like something that I used to like.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be pretty cool, man. Like we're in that era now where it's like, okay, you got a new generation coming up and it's folks like us, on the screen that got a chance to be a part of it and to really feel it and to like deliver that. And I feel like that also would be something else that was so great in terms of like you guys' marketing strategy was because you got folks like us, man, that could really push it. You know what I mean? Like we know everything that there is to know about it. We were around for it. We got multiple games to go see. Like the whole city was buzzing about it, man, with the championships and all that kind of stuff. Like it's there, and Cleveland is always looking for something else to be able to latch on to. And to now see recent success, of course, of like the Browns finally and some other teams kind of following suit, it's just like, okay, cool. Now you got the crunch coming back. It's like, let's keep it going. You know what I mean? What else can we make happen?
Yeah.
So that's awesome to hear, man.
You said it best right there. I mean, the crunch were back in the day before, digital technology really took off. They were PR machines doing it in an age where it hasn't really taken off to where it is 20, 25 years later, where we have everything at our disposal to capitalize on. So we're reaching the target market of, people like families with parents that used to take us to the game. So we're reaching those people at a very accessible platforms. And it's just allowed us to get to where we are so fast, I think, too, in itself.
Yeah. And like you said, being able to provide that experience for your kids like you had, that's the main goal here.
Exactly.
It shouldn't
And
be.
for those that are, younger and did not know this, I'm going to throw this out there because this needed to be said. Before LeBron even thought about bringing a championship back to Cleveland in 2016, the Crunch were exactly the last team to win a championship and brought 3 back, not just 1. They brought 3 back. So let's be clear about that. That championship curse,
3.
That championship curse had been lifted long time ago.
Man.
And I don't care what nobody says. You can say it doesn't count because it's not mainstream, but if you are waking up every day doing a specific job that nobody else can do or wake up and do, you are a professional at what you do. So that is a professional sport. It counts as a championship.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to always count it as a championship. Not to mention, you do not understand, for you kids watching and you Cleveland fans that pretend ignorant, you do not remember how bad those Cavs teams were. From 94 up until LeBron got drafted.
Yeah, because once everything left the Coliseum and went to Gund Arena,
it was
bad. Man, it was that was ugly with them little stenciled uniforms or whatever that extra crap they had going on, man, that they try to throw back to.
Ray Traylor,
horrible.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp in his end of his career, but they made the playoffs
Man.
once.
So they're
That was one time.
One
It was
time.
one time it got beat on.
It was all over for me. Like once Mark Price stepped away, man, I was like,
Oh man, yeah, that was it. You knew it was.
that
You knew
was
it was
it.
bad.
When Mark Price walked away, I was like, oh, that's it.
What about
That
Bobby?
is it.
He's supposed to be the
Man,
next.
look,
Ooh, Bob
look.
Sura and Bobby Phillips.
Look, let's be real about this while we talking about that. Those were the only two good highlights or good spots on those teams up until
Yep.
they decided not to pay Bobby and he ended up leaving, and then you left Bob by himself with nobody.
Man.
Because I'm sorry, Tyrone Hill was not it. Brevin Knight was not it. Terrell Brandon, he was it, but he was too short.
And it was
That
old
was his only.
by then.
Yes, that was it was bad back then. So the crunch was all we had from. So I appreciate you guys for bringing them back. Now on the subject of that, what's going to be the process for showing the older generation, meaning older crunch players, appreciation and paying homage to what they did?
That's good.
Yeah, we definitely plan on when we get into our downtown venue, retiring Otto's, Hector's, and Zorn's numbers. We don't allow anybody on the team to wear those numbers now, and just having more of like a Hall of Fame night and raising some championship banners, raising those retired numbers, bringing old players onto the field, maybe just doing some sort of like mock like ring ceremony, things like that when during the game mostly. I feel like we do a lot. We were doing a lot in the beginning on social media when we didn't have our own players to promote. We were promoting, the players of the past and historical moments and stuff like that. So continuing to do things like that, like retro nights and stuff. But definitely being able to give credit where credit's due at, wherever we see fit.
Now, I'm glad you said that because that does a really big service to them as well as the fans that were there to see that. So we appreciate you guys for doing that much because not even the city gave them that much. So I feel like this was long overdue for them. Now, the only other thing I have that I asked was, do you have a throwback for the Crunch players now, or are you just going to stick with current uniforms? Because I've been looking, like I said, I was watching the 94 championship last night, and I wonder if Hector still has his sweater jersey. Come on, man, let's be real. You saw them. Them was sweatshirts. Them was sweatshirts with good looking numbers and the Crunch on it. That was, you couldn't get no better than that.
Add 10 pounds to you with that sweat.
Oh yeah. We'll be bringing back some long sleeves in the winter season. This summer we'll have, just our standard white homes and black away jerseys, our crest on the left chest and our sponsors across, all the other placements throughout the shorts and the tops. But in terms of downtown, when we go down there in the winter, you're gonna see a retro long sleeve jersey mixed into that too. So it's an alternative. So awesome. We're excited to release that stuff later this year, man. It's gonna be a fun time going through that process with Tony Dore over at Unitas.
That is awesome.
That is exciting,
awesome, man. Yeah. Now, for you guys, have you guys talked to anybody besides Otto and Zorn and Hector about bringing them back to come visit at all from the team, like the Meltzers? Because I remember those guys were brutal, man. They may look nice, but they was brutal. They would shove you into the boards, no problem.
We've connected with Tommy Tanner. So he actually is an owner of a current MASL team called Utica City FC in upstate New York. So we've had a few phone conversations with him. We've been kind of connected through Tim Tima, through some of these guys. So he's actually a current MASL certified referee these days.
Oh, wow.
Which is funny because he's the all-time leading penalty minutes.
I was just about to say, didn't the referees hate him back then?
Man.
Yeah,
He's giving back to the referee community now.
Chad James, he helped pick the talent from our tryouts. But other than that, I guess I haven't really been much connection with former players. The ones that live in this area, yes, but the ones that are out of state, not so many. But we definitely plan on trying to get as many people as we can there when we, are able to have a bigger venue.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, for those watching, just remember Hector, Zorn, Otto, the Meltzers. Right, you got to remember these guys did a lot for the sport of arena soccer because soccer itself has never been a big sport in the United States, but around the world, soccer is king. They shut down whole countries when the World Cup comes around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And with the Crew now winning the MLS Cup and probably will start the season, pick to win it again. This is the greatest time for soccer to be alive since Pele. So just keep that in mind when you go to these games. And I know people are going to be like, it's soccer, it's indoor soccer. How exciting! It's very exciting. There's
super exciting.
Oh, it's
there's no 2-1. There's no 2-1 score. There's no 0-0 penalty shootout. I've seen 16-15. I think if I'm not mistaken, the Crunch won that championship in '94. I think they won that 15-14 or something like that because Hector scored the game-winning goal. So it's like these games get really exciting. As much as you don't want to believe it, they get very exciting.
Just watch the last play of how that play transpired with the flying squirrel of Otto Orff out of the box, header up the sideline, gets it over to Metzer, and then gets it down the line to Carbonera off the wall to Hector. I mean, just it happens so fast, and that's literally just how it's going to be in indoor soccer. So you're going to expect a lot of action-packed, high-flying, exhilarating moments, and some action up against the boards. That's just what comes with it.
Yeah. No,
Speaking of, go ahead.
You guys, as more franchises join this league, it's gonna turn back to the relevancy that it once had, and it'll be indoor soccer. Will be because we made a point today at practice. Someone brought up that a lot of the younger guys in the team are used to playing indoor soccer with no boards, and then you have the older guys who are used to playing with boards because a lot of these facilities took their boards out. For I guess the whole reason behind it is for better development for youth kids. But indoor soccer is a thing, man. It's its own game. It should not be just because the walls might hinder someone's development doesn't mean that it's its own sport. It's separate from outdoor soccer. You got to strategize a certain way for it, and I think it kind of defines American entertainment per se. And like you were saying, like it's instant satisfaction. There's tons of goals. It's quick moving. There's no out of bounds. It's really just it's a fun experience for people who haven't been able to experience it.
A very affordable experience too. Like soccer is just right? Like, and then you got your 11v11 outdoor. You got your indoor with walls. You have sand soccer, which is another up and coming platform that the sport gets utilized with, and futsal. Futsal with Otto Orff in the Akron Vulcans, the team that he's developed down there. So he has a really good squad. Actually, a couple of our guys play for the Vulcans. So shout out Akron Vulcans as well, playing in the futsal league.
Man, I know for me, like just with the way it was being indoor and just the acoustics, because like you only have so many people can be in there, obviously, but you would have never thought that it was less than like 20,000-30,000 people in there, the way it was just rocking. You know what I mean? And like every game was like that. It could be a championship, a regular home game, man. It did not matter. And I will say, to the credit of the Crunch, I honestly was not checking for soccer at all until I went to a Crunch game. And I probably was like 8 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old, man. Went to a Crunch game. So to have that, if not for the Crunch, I may not even have been a fan of the game at all, to be honest with you.
That's awesome.
And to jump on that, Ronnie, think about this. I was watching that 94 championship.
Mhm.
Back in 94, this sport was so big back then. That game was on ESPN too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Balls of fire.
So
ESPN
so
two. The
think
balls of fire.
yeah, so think
Man.
about that. When arena football was coming around back then, around
Mhm.
the same time, ESPN would cover those games, but those games would be tape delayed, so you wouldn't see the actual game until like midnight, 1 in the morning. This was live on ESPN2. They covered this from beginning to end on
Man.
ESPN2.
Yeah.
So ESPN2 sought to put this on a pedestal so much that they overtook arena football to put this on live.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you figure we were hungry for it because like Browns was getting ready to move out. Like you said, the Cavs weren't that good.
Cavs
The
terrible.
Indians were like getting there, and then the following season after this occurred, that's when the whole World Series, return started to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and we started to see more of what they're kind of doing now. But yeah, man, this was the ticket. Like this was it. This was
And
it
what's
for
so
us at the
crazy?
time.
And
You
what's so
know?
crazy? The crunch was such catalyst for success. Think about the chain of events that happened. 94, they win the championship. 95, the Indians make the World Series. 96, Crunch win another championship. And in 97, the Indians go back to the World Series, even though they blew it against the fucking Marlins.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry. If any World Series hurt, that was that.
Hey,
It
you
was
can't
that.
play
It was that World Series.
Yeah,
Tony
that one was
Fernandez,
rough.
that glove down.
I blame man.
Exactly.
If Tony show his face in Cleveland, I'm surprised if he walks out.
Yep, that's it.
That's all it is. I don't care what people
All
have
it
to
is.
say, Mesa. He's not the bad guy. He's not the bad guy,
Yeah,
in my
He
opinion.
never was. He did what he was supposed to do.
he
But
did what he was supposed to do,
yeah.
man. They always blame it on him. I'm like, but he's got how many people behind him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was something that couldn't be played on. See, you my guy, man, for saying that.
Hey,
Everybody want to go against Mesa. I'm like, dude, basic defense. Basic
Right.
defense. Like,
that's the foundation, basics of
Oh.
baseball right there, man. I was only
See,
3.5
in
years old when I remember that.
see, man, in the future, man, y'all might have to come back just for some baseball, man. I'm telling you, this is crazy. The way you hit me with that, oh man,
We'd love to be friends
I'm
with the
excited.
show.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Everybody's a friend of the show when they come on. Now,
Oh, man. Great.
before we go any further with anything else about you guys, February 27th, Battle of the Boards. Bruce City legends come in. I didn't even know who Bruce City was. I didn't know where Bruce City was. I remember just catching you guys on my timeline. I thought it was like a practice, but I heard the commentator, so I'm like, oh, this is a real game. So let's check this out. You get there, you get to the soccerplex because I'm looking at it. I'm like, I know this place. This place looks familiar. And I see the middle of the soccerplex. I'm like, oh, because I know where they are. You guys utterly destroy Bruce City.
Yeah.
This was not even, you guys are laughing now, but back then when I was watching this game myself, I was like, it is bad. Whoever Bruce City is, just don't come back. Just don't even think about it.
Funny you say that because I got a text the next day from their team owner and said, I want a rematch. I didn't have 5 out of my 7 plays. And I just sent him back the Mr. Krabs gift, the little violin. He's playing the violin. It's a joke, though. And I was like, hey, we'll take that up anytime, man. But I will say, though, there's a reason why that score was that score. I mean, we're obviously the more talented side, but in arena soccer, it is imperative. I'll repeat, it is absolutely imperative that the goalie has foot skills and can be a part of the offense. Because when I went back and I started watching that game even more, I'm like, there is literally one thing that made the difference in this game. They were at a disadvantage on offense. And we're technically a sound defensive team, but there's one reason. And I think their goalie had no part of being in their offense. He was hanging out in the back, in their box, leaving the gap between him and their offense wide open. So we had a couple of those breakaway goals, like from Sammy Mutumwa. I mean, that just exposed how, like, there's gaps there that they were left open, and their goalie just never had He was never part of their offense, and that's huge in arena soccer.
Another thing
It
too
is.
with our team is these guys have been playing together for years. So it may appear as a new team, but these guys, they've all been, aside from maybe 4 or 5 of them, they've all been playing together for years.
No.
And it shows on the field for sure, because definitely the chemistry just is unmatched, and it definitely, helps with the product that they're displaying.
Now, I wanted to ask, because I brought that game up because I wanted to ask, 12-4, game's over, you're shaking hands. What was it like on the way home in the locker room to know that you guys had really made a statement? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who knew you were coming back, who had been following, were just like, it's going to take them a while. And then you watch that game, and you guys literally were fundamentally sound. The breakaways were smooth. Dare I say, the defense looked like some old Crunch defense where they smack somebody into the boards.
Yeah.
And, the game's finally over. You look at the scoreboard. What was that like? What was that feeling like afterwards? Like after everything had calmed down, what was that feeling like for you guys?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
I was pretty numb, honestly. Like, I'm like, did we just come back and win?
I think we had a feeling like we're like, it's either going to be close or it's going to turn out like how it did. I mean, obviously we're glad that it turned out that way, but I think it was even still more of like a shock. I mean, I think we scored 1 minute and 40 seconds into the game.
Minute and 20
seconds.
Wow.
So it was 4-0 in the first quarter. We're like, all right. So like we actually did. It helped us, reassure ourselves that we picked the right guys to be on the team. I mean, really.
Yeah, because
so I mean, and they've been playing with each other forever.
I mean, some of these guys, they deserve to be playing at a higher level. They deserve to have a platform to play on, and you're going to see a lot more out of these guys. They're definitely hungry for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they played showed that. It was like, I was not expecting 12-4, and granted, it's indoor soccer. Goals are gonna happen. It's not like you can avoid those. But to see the team score the way that they scored, like they were determined to get the ball into the goal or just create an offensive play. And it really did look like a Crunch team from 94, 95, 96. Like, it was scary to see. I'm like, if I was sitting at one point, I think it was like 9-2 or whatever. I'm sitting up there yelling at the screen for Bruce City's goalkeeper to just like play defense. I was just like, dude, I don't care what you do. Hang on the board or something. Like, matter of fact, grab one of your teammates, stand in front of the goal with him. Like, come on. Like,
Exactly.
Give him.
And then I think you guys hit like 10, and then the goalkeeper, he just threw his hands up. He's like, he didn't even want to play anymore. And I felt bad. Like, at that point, you got to feel bad.
Yeah.
Because you never, in soccer, in outdoor soccer anyway, you hardly ever see a score as such, unless the team is that bad. But, coming into that, that's a refreshing feeling as a Cleveland sports fan to see the Crunch come in, dominate, and go home the way that they did. I was shocked, not because of the score, but because it really did resemble a 90s Crunch team.
And the way they went back into the locker room, not celebrating like they won a championship, kept their heads down, congratulated them, and on to the next, because that's just the group of guys that we had.
Yeah. The next day at practice, we gave it the next week at practice, I should say. It was like it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
It was like, congrats, we won. Let's move. We got Colorado Inferno coming up, who's going to be a much tougher side than Bruce City. I'll tell you that. So that will be a very good matchup.
Speaking of that,
oh yeah,
a better time to do this.
Yeah, man.
Tank.
Yeah, man. There it is.
It's not up on my screen. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Well, Colorado Inferno will be in town this weekend for a back-to-back. Was it March 1st, 21st, and 22nd?
March 20th and 21st.
Okay, March 20th and 21st. Tickets go on sale when?
They already sold out, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
So
Yeah,
both
buddy.
there's that.
we're limited fans on both nights,
Yeah.
both games rather. So Saturday it's 7:00, Sunday it's 2:00. We're only able to sell 200 tickets. Sold out the first game by the end of last night, and then carried into today for game 2. But now that's currently sold out.
Wow,
Awesome.
that is awesome.
That's great.
Like just imagine. I'm gonna keep pulling this up because that people need to realize this game is real. Just imagine if this wasn't a COVID season and you actually, because I've been in the Soccerplex for other events, and that's a pretty big place. It's actually 3 soccer places, like soccer areas. There's 2 on each side, and then there's one further in the back. So just imagine if they actually would have made this a non-COVID season, so to speak, and everybody could come. Just imagine what that place would sound like.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Cleveland Freeze. They were a team back in 2013 in the PASL, and kind of when the MASL started coming back around too. And just 7 years ago, they were able to get 1,200 people in their home opener in there versus the Harrisburg Heat, another household name of arena soccer. So yeah, they said that place was just like the roof was going to shake off.
Yeah.
And I've actually been in that place when it's loud like that, so I already know. It can get pretty loud, and it echoes, and I think that's the thing that bothers a lot of teams, especially watching the game against Bruce City. Every time you guys scored, or every time you guys got a breakaway, not even if you did score, just hearing the noise from the breakaways, hearing the noise off the defensive checks, it was getting loud. So I can only imagine if it was more than just 150 people there that could actually be fit in that place. Just absolutely bonkers.
Oh my.
Do you have the bottom half of this graphic? Because it'll show where you can catch the game too.
Oh, it's getting cut off.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Like I said, it won't pop up on my screen, but
it's just getting cut off. It says the banner that says soccer, so I think you're good. I can see the bottom of it.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually catch it on you guys' fan page, which is Cleveland Crunch. Yeah. And if not there, you can catch it on the clevelandcrunch.com. I believe I've seen MASL on their website. They've been posting videos and actual games on their website as well. So there are multiple streams and multiple ways to catch this game Saturday and Sunday. And don't believe for a second we will not be following this game, because we will. Mm-hmm. And we will be helping you guys promote it as appreciation for you guys being on, because this was something I jumped out my skin when I saw the game, so I knew it was real. So we could not be a part of this, and we can't thank you guys enough for being on. Just greatly appreciated it.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys for bringing us on, and for the support.
Blessed for the opportunity, guys. Don't be strangers. Have us around sometime. We'll love to be friends with the show.
Oh yeah,
hey, man. Once COVID get over with, man, I'm getting out of here.
So yeah, same. We're gonna be moving downtown ourselves, so we getting out of the sportsplex. But we're excited for this, guys, and we can't thank you enough for this opportunity. Go Crunch!
Now, we do have a couple more topics to touch. So if you guys want to chime in, we would love for you guys to chime in. We always welcome to talk. Doesn't really matter. If you guys are busy, we understand. But if not, we'd love your ideas. We'll love your topics on this. First topic, NFL. Drew Brees announces his retirement after 20 years. 15 of those years with the Saints, the first 5 with the Chargers. Ronnie, what are you thinking?
For this, it was a shock to me only not because of how long he's been around and what he's done, but more so the fact that usually it's not very common for folks to be like, okay, I'm going to drop, my money or whatever it is I'm supposed to make in order to make cap room to then retire. I haven't seen that necessarily as a trend, you know. So with Breeze, I felt like he definitely had something left in the tank for sure. For him to go out when he did makes sense though. So that part I'm not surprised about, but just to see it happen now, because I thought for sure he'll play at least one more season. So that's the only real surprise I had there was okay, he's not going to play 2 years of that last 2 year contract that he had, but one more year for sure. So when this hit me and I saw it today, I was like, man, you know, I'm excited for him to be able to get back with his family and spend time with them and stuff like that. But at the same time, a player of his caliber to walk away, it's kind of hard to see, and it lets me know I'm getting older too. So that's part of it. But overall, man, he's done a lot for the city. He's done a lot for the organization in general. Brought them a championship. Like it's just really, really good to see what he's accomplished over the years, and then what he may do afterwards. I'm kind of looking to see, is he going to do some commentating? Is he going to just kind of fall back? So it'll be interesting to see what he does next. But yeah, I'm good, man. It took me a little bit to kind of process, but I'm good. I'm good.
All right, Luch, Eric, what do you think?
Well, I gotta say, so the kid I went to high school with, his name's Kyle Sparcia, and his cousin is the wife of Drew Brees. And so I can get you guys into that scoop as soon as I shoot him a text.
No, I used to like the Saints. Like when they had Joe Horn, I think it was like 2006, whatever they went with Reggie Bush too. So yeah, Drew Brees definitely. He's one of the best to ever do it, man. And he's just a good guy. It seems like easy to root for.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, respect to Drew Brees, man. I hope you enjoy retirement. Yeah, it makes me feel a lot older too, as you said, Smooth. So yeah, even back to the days with the Chargers, and Philip Rivers on board, and all of a sudden, I think he had a couple nagging injuries that were persisted to him, throughout his early days there. So that kind of led to the exit. But other than that, man, I mean, he dominated, man. He should have won more titles, in my opinion. Just never really got to that point.
For sure.
Okay, here's the only thing I got to say about this. I am a little disappointed that he retired after taking a pay cut. You take a pay cut, that means you're going to stay in most cases. You want to help the team out financially, and I thought he had one more year. I honestly thought he had one more year. He made it this far in the playoffs, I believe it was to the NFC Championship. And the only person that beat you was the supposedly greatest of all time in Tom Brady. If I'm Breeze, I'm happy with my career. I got a ring. I'm leaving the all-time passing leader. I'm leaving second in touchdowns. But I wonder what was the decision behind it. Like who was in his ear? If there was anybody in his ear, was it the injury? Was it the injury that played a part in it? Because I've had broken ribs. I know how hard it is to breathe, to move. If you sneeze the wrong way, it's gonna hurt. So I'm wondering, was that a factor? Was it the wife? Was it just I've done everything I can do. What else do I need to do? But overall, outside of that, I'm happy for him. He had a hell of a career. I think the Chargers are still kicking themselves in the ass for letting him go, but that's their decision, not mine. But passing to one of the greats, just walk off into the sunset while you can. There's always an old expression in football: get out before the game puts you out. And I'd hate to see for an injury to put him out instead of him taking that final ball. And I think he took that final ball against Tampa Bay. And, maybe coaching's in his future. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you have something going there with the coach comment. So I wouldn't be shocked to put it that way.
I wouldn't either. I honestly wouldn't. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he went back to his alma mater at Purdue, because they could use some help.
That would be awesome.
He was in the Olympics one time this past season, so we'll see. Yeah, I agree.
That would be cool. Yeah,
and like a lot. Like just think about that. Just It's a possibility. Um, Next two topics, we're just gonna stick with it. It's not necessarily the NBA per se, but um, we're gonna go to hoops. Soon as I can pull up the as soon as I can put up the banner. But yeah, save it. Yep. It's gonna take forever. Get off of that. I'm gonna go to hoops, not NBA, but playoff time is coming around for the NBA, but we'll touch that at a later subject. But NCAA Selection Sundays happened already.
Mhm.
I thought Ohio State was actually gonna make it, get that automatic bid, but they ended up losing by 3 to Illinois in overtime. So Illinois gets the automatic bid for the Big Ten, but Eric, uh, Luch, I remember hearing you guys say that Houston will be playing Cleveland State. So, what are you guys expecting from this
Mhm.
NCAA tournament, even with COVID going on? And some teams have opted out, or their season's been killed because of COVID.
Honestly, I haven't really been able to get the chance to check out the bracket yet. There's just a couple Fox 8 news updates that just come to my phone. So I just saw that Ohio State, OU. So a shout out to OU as well for making the tournament, winning the MAC. And then who else? Cleveland State. So yeah, so good luck to all the teams. I haven't really been able to get a chance, like I said, to check it out, but I think they'll ruffle some feathers. I think they'll get some attention, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm just not really caught up to speed on everything, and I haven't really had a chance to catch up to catch a lot of college hoops this year because a lot of the times just here in Crunch HQ and getting things done to have a successful Crunch season. So I feel like I've been like out of the sports scene for quite a bit these last few months.
It's actually crazy because when you sent me the address for the press conference, I didn't realize until I pulled up and was actually walking into the hotel. I didn't realize that the MAC tournament, the guests of the MAC tournament happened to be staying at the same hotel that the press conference was in. So I'm like, oh man, I think I ran into Buffalo and Miami of Ohio at the time.
Yeah.
Like this hotel is doing things, man. I don't understand it.
I gotta tell you, when I was walking out of Chris Economides, he's the commissioner that was in town, out of his room on the sixth floor. On the sixth floor, I remember I just turned, went right, and I'm looking up at this guy in Miami. He's like 7 foot. I'm like, hey, what's up?
It be like that, man. And that's the crazy part. It actually be like that. And I was just like, man, you guys picked a fine place to hold a press conference. Like, man, because it was so crowded. It was so crowded coming in because teams were unloading and loading up. And I'm just like, is there something going on here today? Because I don't follow, like, I'm going to just be honest. I don't follow the NCAA basketball scene until the big tournament because it's easier to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then I realized I kept seeing all these dudes with Bulls on their shirt. Like, what is it? Oh, that's Buffalo.
Mhm.
Oh, shit. The Max here.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
I love this time of year though because I always love rooting for a nice underdog, and it gives you about how many opportunities to root for an underdog. So
it's like 20. It's like 20 out of 60 now that I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's so many, man. Because I saw I had to shoot it over to you guys because the brackets is out. They got the PDF version, and I see the first 4 games right there for the 18th. And then hearing that Cleveland State's back in it, that's always exciting. Because the last time I remember them being in there was when they had Norris Cole.
Yep.
And they had knocked off Wake Forest the first round. That was pretty exciting to see. Yeah, that was a great year, man. That was a great year. Because nobody picked them to beat Wake Forest. But they dropped I forget, was it 8 threes or something like that in the first 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
so look at them boys ball, man.
And and the only reason I dislike Cleveland State, and my aunt's gonna kill me, but sorry, Aunt V, I'm just being honest, is that they don't have a football team, and it's right there. Like, I love the basketball team, don't get me wrong. Even with the bad teams, Coach Massimino was tops, class act.
Raleigh was good.
But at the same time, this would be if you were gonna do anything right by your city, outside of the soccer team at the school, outside of the basketball team at the school, putting the football team at the school would be the right thing to do at the right time. It's perfect. Time's right here. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Who knows?
Does the Horizon League even have a football team in it?
No, but the MAC is sitting right there.
Yeah. I mean, there's no
Like,
reason
think about.
football team.
There's no reason. Like, think about how many MAC teams are in a 40 to 50 mile radius of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Akron, Kent, Buffalo. Buffalo's 4 hours as a 4 hour drive east. You know, all the Michigan teams are 3 hour drives. Like, it's the MAC is right there.
Yeah,
I don't see why it couldn't work.
I think it very well could, man. And you get to scoop up all the local talent. That's
Exactly. We've been saying that for years, and they just won't do it. Whatever. But speaking of NCAA football, it's been brought to my attention. The OAC started play Friday night, and it's looking like a 2-team race already, with John Carroll beating Baldwin Wallace 28-17, and Mount Union doing what they do best, and that is pretty much embarrassing everybody they play. They dog walk Muskingum 51-15. I'm just being honest, man. You know, when you play Mount Union, like,
sorry,
I'm just being honest. Like, I know it's bad. I know it's bad. Believe me, I know it's bad. But you got to look at the reality. When you see, if you're an OAC team that's not named John Carroll, Mount Union, maybe Capital, if you see Mount Union on your schedule, why do you even like circle that game, or why do you even entertain that game on the schedule? Like, it's just.
They should just fast forward.
Just skip over that. Yeah, skip over that. Yep, just.
Wisconsin Water County faces the same situation in their conference. So
I'm pretty sure when Mount Union gets their schedules, Mount Union be looking at teams like Marietta, Muskingum, Wilmington, like we used to look at the West Side schools, like Marshall, Rhodes, you know, Lincoln West. It's a stat game. Like, you know, it's a stat.
Right.
And I feel bad because for them, it's an abbreviated season. They got game, and it's gonna be a tight race as it is for who's gonna win the OAC. But now you give Mount Union incentive, meaning you got 4 games to do it, and it's looking bad already. Muskingum had nothing coming. I'm glad that was a home game because the people who did show up got to leave early.
True.
Like quick story. I was on the team, Cleveland Cobras, 2007. We beat this team called the Lenawee County Crusaders 94-0. Not lying. No joke. And the guy who was commentating our game said, and I quote, "If you're a Crusaders fan, you're wishing this was a home game so you could just creep out early and enjoy the rest of the day." I feel bad for teams like Muskingum and Wilmington when they play Mount Union. But outside of that, it's looking like a 2-team race already because John Carroll was not expected to beat Baldwin Wallace, and you already know Mount Union's already picked to win the OAC. March 19th, these two play. So it's going to be a packed weekend. You got the Crunch playing on Saturday and Sunday, and then you got Friday night, the Mount Union and John Carroll game in Mount Union, by the way. So there's a home field advantage there.
I'm back.
The home field is kind of hard to play there. You know?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Trap game.
If that's what I was thinking.
Conference
even though Mount Union is at home, do you think it's a trap game?
It's a trap game. Well, at least not for Mount Union. You know.
I think it is. I honestly think it is because remember, back in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
John Carroll beat Mount Union and took the OAC title.
I remember
Mount
reading
Union,
News Herald.
That's
Mount
true.
Union's won the last three. Mount Union's won the last three OAC titles, but back in 2016, John Carroll took it and took it in dramatic fashion. So
Now that you said that, man, I think both teams are probably going to be looking at that too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got one team
yeah.
thinking, "Hey, we've done this already, man. Let's do it." And then on Mount Union's end, they're like, "Look, man, it's been us the last 3 years. Let's keep it rolling. We're not about to let 2016 happen again." So it's going to be like the different, mentalities on each side.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's going to be some hard hits, man.
Hard hits, a lot of flags.
It's slobber knocker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. This is going to be awesome. Maybe Hector Marinero is going to have to bring his presence into the game on Friday night.
Oh, that would be.
Hey, man, they might need him because, and this is the crazy thing about the Division III football scene. Like, I don't get how people, these younger guys, I'll say that, these younger guys that are still in high school that don't want to hear, you can still make it to where you want to be from Division III. I don't think they realize it's been a lot. What's up, Willie?
Willie.
But I don't think these guys realize, London Fletcher, Pierre Garçon, Cecil Shorts. There's a tackle who was in the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, for Wisconsin Whitewater, and he pretty much beat up the nation's best defensive end, and he'll probably get drafted, more than likely. Not only that, these Division III games are more entertaining than some of these Division I games. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, like those are steal draft picks there. I mean, look at Pierre Garçon, how he did in his career. So I mean, those guys come in with like this chip on their shoulder into the league, like, I was undrafted, or they're a late pick in the draft, or just not even assuming that they would be drafted. So and they just go out there and they just, they're hidden gems. You gotta just find them.
Yeah, because think about this, London Fletcher. I went to the game where he was inducted in John Carroll's Hall of Fame, and I didn't realize how tough this man was until they actually rattled off his resume. He didn't miss a game in his whole career.
Wow.
He didn't miss a game his whole professional career. Mind you, he plays linebacker. That's one of the most dangerous positions on the field, and you don't miss a game, man.
That man built different.
Way different.
Man.
Speaking of linebacker, we got the twin version of Clay Matthews sitting on the crunch roster. Chris Svecko, come up. Literally.
I was wondering who that was, man. I was like, wait, why is this dude with long hair on the team? Is he a player?
Oh yeah. He's a specimen.
Hey, I'm not. What is he? The enforcer? The bouncer?
Yeah.
That dude looked dangerous.
Ponytail line. Severe McDowell.
That was crazy, man. Because when you see him, it's like, when I seen him at the game on February 27th, I was like, okay, he must be a coach because there's no way anybody. Because that's what I thought about Sammy. I thought Sammy, like, because pregame when you see them in their warmups, you don't think that they're team players. You think they're like coaches, staff, that sort of thing. And then when I saw him playing, I'm like, yo, that's a big dude to be playing soccer. Yeah. And then I saw him check the little skinny dude from Bruce City into the boards. I'm like, that's why he got him. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. No,
and then I saw, y'all doing some hell of a recruiting because them dudes is huge. There's some big soccer.
Yeah,
y'all picked the right people for the right sport.
Physicality is the name of the game with these guys, man. Dave Jordan said it in his Spectrum News interview. Get the opportunity to hit people. I'm like, okay, I love it. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Clearly.
Man,
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Last topic. last topic, and I know this is going to probably ruffle some feathers with the NCAA, but I don't care. Um, Jackson State is currently still undefeated as they open up SWAC play for themselves at home, beating the brakes off of Mississippi Valley State. Fred Poole, I'm sorry. It's just the truth. Jackson State beat the brakes off of y'all. Fred was a friend of ours, good friend of ours, went to school with him. He was our quarterback actually until he got hurt, but he actually went to Mississippi Valley State. And Jackson State wins 43-7. And it was bad. It was really bad. It was a 23-point second quarter. They didn't score in the third. They scored 2 in the fourth. One was a defensive touchdown. You rattled off 2 wins in SWAC play, one of them against a team that was picked to beat you, and you beat them at home in Grambling State. Mind you, everybody thought that Dion was going to have a bad year as a coach going into this, and they are clearly making a statement. Can we say that this is not a fluke now?
I can honestly say that it is not a fluke. You know, these guys are coming in, like you said, you got prime time coaching them. And like we talked about previously, when you have someone of, you know, that stature coming in to coach you and to guide you and to lead you along the way, first of all, you're going to want to play your heart out for the individual, you know, because you got people who may have been old enough to kind of catch a little bit of what he did. And if not, they're definitely aware of it because of guys like us. And they've been able to embrace that and go, okay, I want to be great like him. How do I do that? You literally have someone who can create a pipeline to the NFL. Someone who is like, all right, I've done it from every level that you've ever been on. I've done it at a level that you're trying to aspire to get to. So what better way to do that than to actually play for the man himself, right? So these guys are playing lights out. They're doing something that they may or may not have been able to do for a different coach, in my opinion. They probably would have, like, athletically, but I feel like, you know, it's just different mentally for those players on that team, right? To come into a HBCU, to be able to say, okay, we're not getting the type of exposure that we would normally get, you know, unless it's like a Bayou Classic or something like that. But outside of that, to have the exposure now and have a coach on this level, I mean, what else can you do? You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, like, this is a chance for them to prove themselves and a chance for him as a coach to prove himself as well. You know, so I don't think it's all hype. I think they definitely are taking each and every game seriously. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were, you know, a team that went ahead and just won the conference championship this year. Because like you said before that, they was getting pissed on. You know, so they got a chip on their shoulder anyway just because of that. And then you bring these guys into this caliber and even his son's coming in to help play and stuff like that. That's even more of a win for the university and for the team.
Eric, Luch, what do you guys think?
I had no idea. Prime time
Yeah.
Dion over
We're a
there.
little behind the times over here.
Yeah. So catch us up to speed a little bit. So when did this all happen?
Actually, the steamroll, the snowball effect happened, I would say November of last year. He took the job and
November.
Yeah, he took the job. The SWAC, HBCU football was canceled anyway. They all decided we're not going to play this year. It was basically just, you know, Power 5 because most of the HBCUs are either D2 or FCS anyway. And it gave them time. They said they agreed on a spring league for this year. And the first press conference Dion held, his first words were, "You better get me now because I got horses coming. And when they get here, things are going to change." Fast forward to their opening game against Edwin Waters, who's an NAIA team. They did what they were supposed to do, beat them 50-0. Then your biggest game of the year so far, you win at Grambling State. They won 33-28 on the last play of the game. And now you beat Mississippi Valley State and you're 3-0. And people were picking you actually to not win the SWAC, but you're making a play for the SWAC right now. And me and Smooth have been talking about this before Dion even took the job. And we said, you know, if Black college football got the recognition and the exposure that D1 football gets, it would be a big shift in players moving to HBCUs or going back to play HBCU football. And here it is. Deion's own son, I believe, was playing at Auburn, and he left Auburn to come to Jackson State. So he'll be there in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's that serious.
you said what?
I was going to say you just hit on the head there with it not getting enough attention because I mean how we didn't know that Deion Sanders was even the coach of this. So it's like it's crazy. It's good to hear though. Like seems like the level of talent though. Like I've watched Grambling State beat somebody significant a few years ago, didn't they? Like a big time school.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember who it was though. I have to look that up.
Yeah, but no, I agree. Like if they had more like exposure and recognition, that they definitely get more of the athletes going to those schools. It is what it is. People are going to go where they get the spotlight. I agree with that.
And here's my thing about this. To show you how much the culture has changed over at Jackson State already. Jackson State's baseball team put the same amount of runs up that the Tigers had in the football score at the end of the third quarter. They won their baseball game 30-0.
Jeez.
Wow, man.
So, who scores 30 runs just all willy-nilly? I don't see that every day. So, to say that, they've changed. Deion is making a change. I don't care how he does it, as long as it's positive, and it has been positive. It's been a positive change, been a positive reaction. Show you even take it a step further. Show you how much of a positive change it's been. I just learned this today before the show, looking it up. Jackson State leads all of the FCS in attendance.
Wow. All
they are number one. They are all in football, in FCS football currently this year. Jackson State leads all of the FCS. They are number one. Alabama State is like number 3 or 4 in attendance.
Wow.
So I'm not going to count out Deion. I'm just hoping that he continues his success because clearly this was needed for Jackson State, and not only needed for Jackson State, but it was needed for black college football in general, because now you see that change. Even though Grambling, who's letting me down right now, they lost again to Prairie View 17-10 yesterday. But the fact that there is a name outside of Eddie Robinson in college football that's making a change is something that was needed. And I think Deion was the right person. Now, to say that, I'm saying if more of these players come back to their alma maters and to the schools that are needed, imagine what that's going to do for that school in that area. Like we talked about Ed Reed last week, going back to Miami to be a coach.
Please do that.
I'm with you. I say let Ed Reed be a coach. Let him be a coach at Miami and watch how fast that culture changes.
Ooh, we bring that back. The U, man. Oh,
you would have some of the most dangerous safeties in all of college football.
Do you imagine the type of shift that would happen in recruiting alone, just from that man being there? Whether it's a head job or
the state wouldn't have nothing coming.
Oh man, they'll be getting whooped on like Michigan get whooped on by OSU. Let's just talk about it. Let's keep it real. Like it wouldn't even be a contest anymore, man. It wouldn't even be a contest anymore, man. Seriously.
And I welcome that though. I welcome that because I went to a small college, very small college. Matter of fact, my school ain't even up no more. And I saw what it was like just to be on the campus of schools like, and this was Division II. So, the schools like Pikeville, schools like Ashland, dare I say Wilmington, because Wilmington actually does have a decent following despite the fact that they stink.
Yeah.
Historically, I'll say historically. They actually won their opening game this weekend. So I'm gonna leave them alone until they lose. But I see the following, and I see what happens when there's a coach there, there's an athletic director there, there's somebody there that gives a shit. Like Eric, you and Luch, you guys gave a shit about the crunch so much to the point you brought him back on your own. I mean, granted, you got the help that you needed, but if it wasn't for you thinking about this and trying to make that change, we wouldn't be here talking now.
You're right.
100%.
So with Dion, and what's crazy about it is, think about this. I don't think this had anything to do with money because
Nope.
because Dion left $1 million job as an analyst.
Yeah.
He left the analyst job to take the job at Jackson State. So obviously he knew something at that time that nobody else knew, which was this team, this school, that level of football needed to change. And like we said last week, everybody thinks that black college football is just about the bands and halftime shows. It's not. That's just the entertainment factor that took over. Think about all of the great players that came from black college football. Think about the black coaches that came from college football. We'll start Doug Williams, Grambling State. First black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl. Shannon Sharp at Savannah State.
Shannon Sharp, yeah.
And Sharp is a legend.
And think about this.
Jerry
Rice. His school just got beat on by Jackson State, but back then he was beating on Jackson State.
Yeah.
God. Exactly.
And then on the coaching side, you go to Eddie Robinson. Eddie Robinson is the first coach at any collegiate level to amass 400 wins. So it was not about halftime. It was about game time. But the fact that the halftime shows were so extravagant and the bands were so, massive and technically and fundamentally sound playing instruments, it took over. But think about all those players that left college football from a school you probably never heard of.
Or here's another take from it, just like flip it a little bit, the perspective. So there's also players who you wouldn't think would play for HBCU who have got the opportunity to play because they get a full scholarship to a Division I school.
Man.
Right? Some of their quarterbacks. If you look at some of these rosters, man, it's not all black players that play for these teams.
Right.
People not thinking about that either. Free education is a free education. And you get to play live out your dream playing the sport that you love, man, on Division I level. Right? So the exposure is going to be there. And the thing is, that's nothing you got to look at too. It's not just for one group of folks. And I want people to really remember that too as well.
Not to mention, once again, there is a special network that we've already mentioned that saw fit to put this game on national TV, and that's ESPN2. So think about if that game would have even been mentioned if Dion wasn't coaching at Jackson State.
Yeah, probably not because that's the reason why he did it, was to get it that type of recognition.
Sometimes it's like people there's just certain situations where you feel like even if there's nobody's fault to it, or there is somebody's fault, it's just it feels like your responsibility to go and make something better of it.
Yeah.
Even if you had no direct involvement with for us in the crunch, nobody's fault why the team's gone, but I felt like it was we were responsible to bring it back. I mean, because if it's not, it's just going to continue to be the way it was. So, I mean, it's just like I feel like there's just people out there that want to, express through those, those actions.
And you are 100% correct because, I got tired of telling my son he thought was ghost stories of the crunch. I'm like, man, these ain't ghost stories. Like, the games really happen.
Like, nobody's fault. Like, why aren't they back? Like, this team's so damn good. Yeah, that was like my first thought. So I was like, let's just do it.
And the crunch are back, just like Jackson State. The crunch are back. So it's a double positive in both of those scenarios, and I appreciate you guys for bringing them back because who knows what would have happened if COVID wouldn't have struck and giving you guys time to think, giving Dion time to think about. I wonder if I could still coach. Now we see the results. The results are the Crunch are back. Jackson State's undefeated right now and looking to possibly win the SWAC. You guys are possibly gonna win MASL2 in your abbreviated season. It's just these type of things are what sometimes are needed in order to push a change.
I agree. With uncertainty comes opportunity, my friend. So we're ready for this upcoming season and hopefully have some silverware in the first season.
Yeah, we're pulling for you guys. Since we brought that up, the Crunch will be playing an abbreviated 10-game season, 5 home, 5 away. All home games are at the Soccerplex in North Olmsted. We will be promoting those as soon as the schedule is out. And once the schedule is out, we will be, let me get this out of the way right now. We are not responsible for tickets, so don't come contacting us for tickets. Contact the Cleveland Crunch. You can find them on their website, theclevelandcrunch.com. You can find them here on Facebook at the Cleveland Crunch. And if you need to watch games because you can't get tickets because they're sold out, the MASL2 will be showing live games. The Cleveland Crunch's fan page will be showing live games. So don't come calling me. Don't come calling Smooth. Don't message us. We ain't responsible for tickets. We don't know how to get tickets.
The play-by-play Crunch, Mark Munch Bishop on the call.
Oh, wow.
And don't be calling me late at night, getting me in trouble. Just putting that out there. You know what I'm saying? Don't be calling me
just
late.
Saying. We just promote. We help get the word out. We do not have tickets. We do not sell the tickets.
You can also call lunch 6 to 9 on Fox Sports 1350 AM. The Gambler on iHeartRadio. All your stuff too.
That's what's up. See, there you go. Well, we thank you guys again for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. You're friends of the show now, so you're welcome back anytime. Hopefully, next time we have you guys on, we can talk about your win.
Yeah.
Your success in the season, and you get some players on, because I really did want to ask Derzik about the hat trick. I wish he'd have came on, but shout out to Derzik on his hat trick at the Battle of the Boards against Bruce City, because we hadn't seen a hat trick since Hector.
So we see a lot more hat tricks out of that man for sure.
Double dares each. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh yeah. It'd be real nice, man. We get some kind of like mid-season, update type of thing, going if you guys got time.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be awesome to set up, so we'd love to have you back, man, for sure.
Yeah, I think like probably between like the May 9th and May 22nd weekend. Let's shoot for the weekend that falls in between there. We'll have some free time.
I just can't wait to see the nicknames these guys get. Like, I'm waiting for that. That's gonna be something to see right there.
Thank Lou Santini on that one, Lou the Great.
But you know what? It was the only thing I think, and unfortunately he had to pass away the tender age of 83. We missed Joe Tate because I think this would have been right up his alley.
Yes, his voice on these games.
Like, granted, I don't think because I don't remember ever hearing Joe on a soccer game, but this would have been the perfect time.
Yeah,
it's crazy. R.I.P.
Yeah. He was awesome. He was awesome, and he did those games by himself. Just think about that. That man didn't need, he didn't need no partner. He didn't need no Pat Summerall, no Brent Musburger. It was just him.
And sometimes it would sound more exciting just to listen to it.
Yeah.
With him talking. If you couldn't go, it's like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna listen to the game. I'll be good to go. You'd be in your car or wherever you're doing at home, just kind of laid up, and he'll make you feel like you were right there in front.
And what's crazy, I found this out about a day or so ago. I didn't know that, because you remember how some of those games were put on 43. here in Cleveland. And
Yeah.
the games that he called on the radio, they would sometimes cut the announce team for TV and put him on.
He's
Oh, yeah.
man. He's legendary.
Yeah. That's all that man, he's gonna be missed. He's gonna be missed. Him and Fred McLeod are gonna be missed.
Poor
Yeah, I'm
Fred.
hoping they do something with him, like, for the city, man, name a street after him, like a court or,
Yeah.
something, man. I mean, he's too iconic to the sports world, man, that we have in Cleveland to not do
Yeah,
something.
he deserves it.
So, yeah, we
He
need something.
definitely deserves it.
Hopefully there's conversation already started with that.
Well, that's a good thing because he deserves
Yeah.
it. He called the Cavs and the Indians throughout his career and the Mount Union Purple Raiders football team. So,
Yeah, absolutely deserved.
Well, that concludes our episode of 4th and 15 for this weekend. We'd like to thank Luciano and Eric for being on the show.
Thank you guys.
As always, we will be in contact with you guys. You're friends of the show, like we said. You guys will be getting promoted for this weekend's game because, first home game of the season. Sold out already.
Crunch time.
Sold out.
Yeah, sold out.
Sold out.
And once we get the schedule or once the schedule is released, we will be sharing it on our fan page as well. So if you're watching and you are a soccer fan, which I know some of you are, scooch over to our fan page, like it, follow it. We will be posting updates about the Crunch. We will be posting updates about episodes, guests, any kind of big news that's happening in the sports world so far that you did not catch on the show. I like that sign, man. I can't see it, but I like it.
Classic.
Kicks every day in the play. Oh man, that was like 20-some years ago, man.
Love that, man. That's original.
Before you end the show.
And for those that aren't watching, that is the old Crunch logo.
Yes, it is. Classic. Oh, see, I'm excited. What do you got?
He in the closet. What does he have?
Yeah.
Oh, he about to pull out something. Oh, come.
Wow. He got the bobbleheads.
Oh, yes.
Is that Hector and Otto?
It's Zoran and Hector. And
Wow.
Love it.
That
Look
is
at that.
awesome.
Wow. Look at that.
Man, and that was when they was wearing the knee-high socks, real long ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Man,
how about
that was awesome.
hair though? Like, my goodness.
Yeah, man.
It was
y'all doing it
1994,
right.
man. That was the style.
Yeah, y'all doing it right, man. Y'all are doing it right. This is exciting, man.
You might see these jerseys in the winter, maybe.
Man,
Yeah,
but
cool.
that's what's so crazy though. I didn't think, and that logo was so iconic back then. Like,
yes, it
you
was.
saw that on everything back in the day. So that was like true to life right there. I didn't know they made
in the first generation. Like that was it's only right to keep it there, like let it it's a legacy in itself. So we felt like it was better for us to come up with a crest and kind of transition it to what most teams' logos and how they brand is how it reflects the current world of soccer. So we're excited to, but nonetheless, we will be debuting with a classic Crunch jersey for the winter season.
Nice. That is awesome. Well, guys, we appreciate it. We hope to hear more from you. We will be tuning in and keeping you guys updated all week leading up to the game. Again, you can find more information on the clevelandcrunch.com, Cleveland Crunch here on Facebook, the Cleveland Crunch on Twitter, the MASL2, I think it's m2soccer.com.
Correct.
And so just keep a lookout for those websites. Follow on Facebook, follow on Twitter. It's gonna be an exciting season. I'm in it for the long haul because I was big with the Crunch back then. I'm rolling with you guys now. So good luck on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be hearing from you guys soon.
And you guys are always real Crunch. So if you ever need to get to a game, you know where to find us.
Indeed.
Definitely.
All right. For 4th and 15, that's the Crunch. That's Smooth. I'm Mel. Peace.